so I promise this won't be long. My word to you. The writers of the Gospels give us the stories of the miracles of Jesus feeding the masses from barely any food. 5 tiny loaves of bread and 2 little fish. Basically nothing. Surely not enough to make a difference. But it did then, and it does today. 5 measly loaves of bread, 2 little insignificant fish. What does it matter? What does any of it matter? What does this matter? What does being here matter? What does writing this in the middle of the night while suffering from insomnia matter? We live in a society defined by fame and fortune. A society in which we strive to make money and money and money and more money. To have things and more things and more things and better things. To have bigger houses and nicer neighborhoods. To send our children to the best schools so they can begin the cycle anew. To have nice jewelry and nice clothes and new phones and gadgets. To compare with our friends and coworkers and neighbors. To keep up with the Joneses. To compete. To win the contest of who has the best retirement package, who lives the most comfortably, who has the best toys, the finest food, the most, who can prove their worth through things in their bank accounts. We live in a society that aligns personal and public validation with your tax bracket, that puts your worth where your checkbook should be and vice versa, that unfairly equates your net worth with your overall worth and value. We live in a culture that reveres the famous, even if people aren't famous for any good reason beyond the fact that they're famous. If you're popular for being known and known for being popular, how is that any degree of true validation? What of those among us with nothing? For those who do not have fancy things to show, or money to donate, or bread to share, what then? What of the silent, seemingly invisible majority? What value do the penniless have in a culture that worships the almighty dollar? Matthew reminds us to not concern ourselves with worry about food and drink and the clothing that we will wear. If we are tiny fish swimming in tiny ponds with nothing to show for it, do we matter? If we are bigger fish in slightly bigger fish bowls, does that matter? We are still just swimming, some faster, some slower, some just floating, all just drifting, against our will, because truly we have no real pull against the water. When we boil everything down, not the fish, don't worry, what proves our true worth? Surely the penniless are not worthless. Surely don't people who don't appear in the paper or on the internet still exist? If we are all just fish, some bigger, some smaller, drifting with the currents, what matters? At the end of the day, does he who dies with the most toys truly win? Of course, we would all rather have a warm house and good food and nice things than be homeless and hungry. But with whom do you share your wealth? At the end of the day, at the end of all of our days, what matters? What did we share? What was our true legacy? Not our inheritances, not our bank accounts, not our property, but our lessons, our kindnesses, our messages, our deeds and actions, our examples of hope, of healing, of wholeness. The graces that we share every day, perhaps without knowing it, perhaps even with the knowledge that everything we do, with or without money and fame, matters. What we do matters. How we do it matters. To live by and through Christ's examples to us, to share with those who have less, to share with those who have more, to break bread with everyone, regardless of social status and standing. And when everyone is at the same table, you scoot over to make room for one more. There is always room for one more. If you have enough to share, and there are extra people, you build a bigger table, not a higher fence. All are welcome at God's table. As he has welcomed us to his table, let us welcome others to our tables. Let us welcome them not just to our tables, but into our hearts as well. To learn to forgive. Not necessarily forget, but to forgive. To realize that our enemies and those who have wronged us are human and flawed, just as we are. To realize that we are all just fish in the sea. To realize that the only control that we have in our lives is how we swim, because only God knows the ocean. Only God controls the tide. Only God can tell us apart, because we're all the same underwater, breathing the same and needing the same nourishment. In the end, kindness matters, love matters, grace matters, hope matters. And if it all matters in the end, it surely matters now. We must try to protect ourselves from the allure of the dollar, from the false promises of riches and fame, from the appeal of false idols. But how do we get to that point, to being selflessly present for others, not just for ourselves? To know that a simple smile or touch may mean more to someone than a grant from the Helena Rubinstein Foundation. Of course, there is a great grace in the power of money and generosity, but perhaps it is the spirit in which it is given that truly matters. If you donate to a cause just for the tax write-off, that may matter a lot to the cause, but at the end of the day, did it matter to you? Truly? If you give to a cause because you believe in that cause or that person or that charity, because it matters to you, have you made a bigger difference? Maybe. Does the spirit in which our actions are carried out make those actions count for more? Perhaps. Perhaps not. But erring on the side of caution, perhaps all we do should be attempted to be done mindfully and with grace. Have you made a bigger ripple in the fishbowl or the pump of the ocean? Do our ripples matter? Yes, because we matter. What we do matters. What we teach matters. Our examples matter, not just our words. Kindness matters. Love matters. Generosity of spirit and heart matters. Simple, abundant, life-changing, amazing grace matters. Share your own table. Share God's table. Let us all, rich and poor, break bread together. Let us all, big fish and little, glub, glub, glub at the surface of our fishbowl's water, waiting for manna from heaven. At the end of the day, we need the same air, the same food, the same sustenance, no matter how fancy our clothes are, how fast our cars are, or how sparkly our fishbowls are. But we are called to do more than just get along with each other and to share what we have with those we know. We are called to do more than pray about hope and healing and wholeness. We are called to take action. The following quote is attributed to Pope Francis. You pray for the hungry, then you feed them. This is how prayer works. As a people, we are called to pray for the hungry. But are we taking the next crucial step? Now, of course, you and I cannot personally solve the plague of world hunger. Pray globally. Fill the food banks here. Volunteer locally. It's as easy as sharing a meal with someone who is hungry. Let our words and prayers bring comfort and peace to others, but let our prayers lead to actions that create life-changing graces that matter in the existences of others and of ourselves. We are called to feed my sheep. Perhaps we are the fish that fed the 5,000, not just the providers of the feast. Let our grace and our actions nourish others spiritually, emotionally, physically, financially. Let us find contentment in being the little fish in that vast sea. And let us discover worth, value, and grace in that. We don't need to have the most to be able to give the most. And being present and giving the most of ourselves is what truly matters. 2 little fish provided for the masses. Surely we can attempt to do the same. Certainly Christ would not have been concerned with the social appearance of bringing only 5 small loaves of bread and 2 little fish to offer to the masses. He had faith that it would be enough, and it was. We have to strive to find that same faith within ourselves, that what we have and what we have to offer is indeed enough. Be little fish. It took just 2 little fish to feed the multitudes, and where 2 or more are gathered, there he is also. Let us pray. Father God, you call on us to pray for the needy, but even more so, you call on us to take actions to provide for those in need. Help us to see and create the differences that matter in the lives of ourselves and those around us. Guide our thoughts and prayers into concrete examples of grace and of giving. So through our giving, we may find our worth and realize what truly matters. Now and forever, in your name we pray. Amen.